Hi everybody, happy Tuesday. Sorry this is running late. I will do 2 chapters today and then you can address it for Tuesday and Wednesday, but I'll only do 4 questions, 2 from chapter 5, 2 from chapter 6, okay? Let's look at chapter 5. How did Kara's mother respond to the editorial? Why did she respond this way? The second question, what did Mrs. Landry say was the cause of Kara's hatred? That's the 2 questions for number 5. Okay, I'll address those again at the end, and then I'll do chapter 6. Homework. Hard but important. When Kara finished taping it back together late Friday, she left the first edition of the Landry News on the kitchen table and went off to her bedroom. She wanted to find the stack of newspapers she had made during 4th grade. When she came back with the small pile of earlier editorials, her mother was standing there reading it. Looking up, her mother said, "Let me guess, this teacher tore it up too?" "Kara, honey, you have done it this time," her mother said. "Well, at least this is the only copy, and I won't have to run down to the principal's office and try to address this with everyone." Mrs. Landry dropped heavily onto the chair beside the table. She looked at her daughter standing there. "Now tell me, Kara, are you angry at me? Is that why you do this? Because if you're trying to hurt me, it's working." Tears welled up in her mother's eyes. "No, Mother, I'm not trying to hurt you. And you shouldn't be upset. This is a newspaper. I'm just printing the facts." "Facts? Just look right here, young lady." Joanna stabbed the paper with her red fingernail. "This is not just facts. You just unloosened your acid little tongue at this man and said mean and hurtful things." Kara flinched at the accusation. She jumped to defend herself. "It's an editorial, Mother. It's allowed to have opinions in it." Remember, we talked about facts and opinions. Facts are things that you can prove, like a ruler is 12 inches. An opinion would be, "I think rulers are the greatest things math has ever created." That would be your opinion. So facts would be, Mr. Landry has been a teacher for 20 years. Opinion would be, he's the worst teacher ever. Kara flinched at this accusation. "I didn't mean to say anything. I haven't made anything up. I just reported the facts. You're the one who taught me how to always tell the truth. Remember that?" Mrs. Landry was outgunned, and she knew it. It had been years since she had won an argument with her own daughter. Look, there's Mr. Funtel in the background reading his book. Do you hear him? Okay, sorry. Years since she's won an argument with her daughter. Landry could feel herself getting upset by the minute. She took in a deep breath. "You may call this truth, but ever since your father left, you have gone out of your way to tell the truth in the way that you see fit, and sometimes it comes out as hateful and impolite." Kara's thin shoulders hunched over. She was wrong. This time, Mom was very wrong. "But last year it was like this," her mother said. "Kara had been hateful to everyone. When her dad left, Kara was sure it was because of her. Her mom and dad always argued about money and saving for Kara's school, getting Kara better clothes. Her father left and filed for divorce. She thought it was because he didn't want responsibility for a family for her." Now, we know that to never be true, kids. In any situation that grown-ups are involved in, it is never the kid's fault. It was just bad timing that had turned Kara into an outlawed journalist. The week her father moved out, Kara's 4th grade teacher had begun a unit on newspapers, and this is where Kara dove right in. She became a ferocious reporter, aloof, remote, detached. She turned a cold, hard eye to her classmates and teachers. She saw their weaknesses and their sillinesses, and she went after them. When she learned that a rather large teacher kept a desk drawer full of candy and fatty treats, she said, let's chat about fat." When she found out the other kids laughed and thought it was too mean, she didn't seem to mind. When she noticed the cafeteria staff would sometimes carry home leftovers at the end of the day, she blew a whistle, saying food workers perform disappearing act. But she hadn't done all her research. What they were doing was legal and approved. The practice actually saved the school money by decreasing the amount of garbage and waste that had occurred. Every week, somewhere in the school, Kara would put up a new edition of the Landry News and waited for the consequences. The only person who never showed up at the conference was her dad. And there were a lot of conferences scheduled. Now, Kara sat at the kitchen table looking through the sheaf of fourth grade editorials. Over the summer, she had started getting letters from her dad. He worked at Indianapolis. He promised he'd come see her. Then he promised Thanksgiving and then Christmas. And then he would be coming to Chicago and he'd be coming to see her. He explained why he and his mom split and it didn't have anything to do with her. Kara could see that that was all true now. She could believe it was true. Even at the end, she couldn't mistake it for, and it couldn't make any sense of it for herself. Kara tiptoed to her mother's door and listened. She knocked and her mother said, "Come on in, honey." Her mom was on the bed, sitting with her back against the headboard. Her old leather-bound Bible sat on her desk. And she said, "Mom, I'm not writing these newspaper articles to make you angry. I'm not really mad anymore. I was just really mad last year, and I understood what was happening. And I'll tell Mr. Larson I'm sorry. I will. But it's still okay to tell the truth, right, Mom? I like being a reporter. It's something I'm good at, Mom." So here's the picture. Sorry, I'm trying to do that without the shadow of her and her mom. Her mother reached for her fresh tissue with her hand and dabbed her eyes. "Kara, honey, you know I want the best for you. That's all I want. I just don't want things to be difficult for you at school. I already feel so bad about your dad and I. I know it's been tough for you and hard, but it wasn't anything you did. Can you see that, sweetheart?" Kara nodded. "I know. It's just the way I felt. That's all. I am sorry I gave you so much trouble. But, Mom, don't worry. I think things will be all right. If I'm careful and I only report the truth, will that be okay?" Her mom said yes. And she read her a psalm from the Bible. It said, "Mercy and truth are met together. Righteousness and peace have kissed each other. Truth shall spring out of the earth, and righteousness shall look down from heaven." Her mother smiled. "Truth is a good thing. Truth has the right to be known, dear. But when you are publishing the truth, just make sure that there's some mercy too. Then you'll be okay." At that moment, safe at home, it all sounded so simple to Kara. But the test would come on Monday. Now, I told you you'd only have one lesson from Tuesday to Wednesday, but we're at 8 minutes, so I want to do the second one on another video so that it's not a problem. Okay, so I'll do that, but still, there'll only be 4 questions. So that'll be 2 from 5 and 2 from 6. So you won't have extra questions. I'll be with you in 1 minute for the next chapter.